Hello and welcome to another edition of Kudo Camera Company live stream on YouTube. And tonight we have a very special guest videographer with us to help us look at two incredible lenses, the Yashica ML 50mm f1.4 and its cousin, the Zeiss Planar 50mm f1.4. Two extraordinary lenses. But first, before we get into that, let me introduce you to Cal from Cobweb Films. Cal, welcome.
Hey Ben, I'm ready to talk some glass here. Let's get rolling.
All right, let's do it. So the first lens that I want to show you, Cal, is my 50mm Yashica ML f1.4. I like it because it's really affordable. I consider this to be pretty sharp compared to some of the lenses I've owned in the past. And for straight out of the HDMI wire, I like the color that we're getting here. Just to let you know, I did put a CPL filter on the both of these lenses to try to cut down some glare in the glasses, but otherwise we're not using any picture profiles or any filters on OBS. So this is where we're at with the ML, the Yashica ML. And a closer look at the body, it's high quality metal construction and very fine glass. So it's a good looking lens there. Just to take another closer look at it, it is 7 elements in 6 groups. You can see that diagram here, and this is minimum focus distance 1/2 meter, aperture range f1.4 to f16. So it closes down not as deep as some lenses, but still fine. And then moving on to the planar. So this is the planar. We'll take a look at some side by side to try to do some direct comparisons, but just kind of the first look. This is the planar. We are at f2 on both of these lenses to start. Here's a closer look at the planar. It's just a little bit bigger than the Yashica ML, and it's also a fully metal build, and it could be manufactured in Japan or in Germany, depending. You can get either variety. And a closer look here, this also has 7 elements in 6 groups. And this is the famous design here. This is the planar design. It was actually developed, I believe, in 1896 by Paul Rudolph, who worked at the Zeiss factory. So this was a design that picked up a lot of popularity. And you can see the two lenses overlay completely perfectly. And so that's how probably why they're so similar. So maybe we can take a look at some of the closer differences and see what you think. Cal, if you want, while we're in this view, I could switch from f2 to wide open. I could close it down a bit. Just let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll make it happen on this end.
Yeah, so you're at f2 right now?
F2.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you show us what they both look like wide open, and then we can go from wide open and then maybe close one of them down afterwards. I do have a question for you. A couple quick questions. You said that there's a Contax version that's made in Japan and one in Germany. Is one of them more sought after than the others?
Not necessarily, because they're both very high standards, but the biggest difference with the Contax Yashica Zeiss line is the difference between the AE version and the MM version. And the difference there is that the AE version has a Ninja Star bokeh, and the MM version has a circular bokeh. So if we close it down a bit, maybe we can start to see the Ninja Star bokeh in this version, because this is the older AE version. And so we can take a look for that. But otherwise, I think people like to have a set. So you might want to, if you already have some of the German, you might want to complete it that way. But certainly people are mixing sets and still having great results. So So this is us at f1.4, and I'll get my trusty camera out here. How am I in? Am I in focus here?
Oh yeah, that's it. You look like you're in focus.
And falling out.
Yep.
Do you notice any markable differences here between the two?
The the bokeh on the planar contacts is actually a little more circular in some spots I can see, which is such a subtle detail. Um, the colors are very close. On the skin, it's almost hard to distinguish between the two cameras for skin tones. I'm having trouble really seeing the difference. And even sharpness, they look similarly sharp to me. So no big differences jump out to me at all.
Let's just take a little bit of a closer look here at the. We'll go to the two-time crop factor and bring this in. Let me know when you think I'm nice and sharp.
Um, it's actually easier to. It's a little hard to see sharpness because you're moving right now. I think without the camera, yeah, like on your glasses, it's a little easier to see if you or like on your beard, hair. And yeah, so there, right in here, the planar definitely looks a little sharper on like strands of hair. It seems to be able to pull out strands of hair a little bit cleaner, but it's pretty subtle. But I can see a little bit more sharpness in the planar.
And I don't know. I was sort of noticing that the planar seems like it's still maintaining a little bit of focus on my iris right now. I know it's out of focus, but it's more in focus than the Yashica is right now. And then as I fall back through the end of it, I feel like it also stays in focus a bit longer too. If you look here, the Yashica seems like it's in a bit more focus. So at wide open, I feel like there's a little bit more of a usable range in there, but it still has great bokeh in the background. One of the things that I think is important about these two lenses are the budget. So the Yashica lens is typically around $100 lens, whereas the planar could be anywhere from 300 to 400. So there's the price factor is a pretty big difference. But if you look at the sort of nuts and bolts of it, I also have these lenses as well, Cal. I have the Distagon 28 millimeter variety on the Carl Zeiss, and the Yashica ML 28 millimeter as well. So when you're working in video, you're going to want to build a complete kit with, so you'll be pairing your 50 millimeter with this here 28 millimeter. And then you've got the Distagon. So when you're looking at multiplying out the set and talking about the budget too, if it's just one lens, maybe it's not a big difference. But when you add everything together, it can sure add up to quite a bit. So, Cal, I was thinking maybe we could just stop it down on the lens comparison, and then maybe just kind of give our final thoughts and call it a night. And I've got some other lenses I'd love for you to take a look at as well. So hopefully we can pick another couple pair of lenses and see what we think. These two are very similar, so I think we're having to split hairs here. Maybe 5.6, or do you think that's a little bit too much to jump to from wide open to 5.6?
Yeah, either 4 or 5.6. That should be about the lens we'll get.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me go around for this.
So 5.6. It's gonna be about it. One of the things that I I remembered when we were prepping today is a story I heard about. It's pretty well known about another planar lens that was made for NASA back in the 60s, and
Wow.
it's the fastest lenses ever made. It's a 0.7 f-stop, and so it was made. It was designed by Carl Zeiss for NASA to photograph the backside of the moon. And so they made 10 of these lenses, and they sold 6 of them to NASA. The story goes. Carl Zeiss kept one, and then he sold the other 3 to Stanley Kubrick, and
Wow.
Kubrick used it to shoot some scenes in one of his movies, Barry Lyndon, which is only lit by candlelight. So it's like this really famous scene from a movie in the, I don't know, it was like the early 70s or so, and the whole thing is just like a room filled with candles. So he instead of like augmenting with a little bit of like tungsten light or something, he just went out and spent like, who knows how much on a few lenses so that he could shoot in candlelight. But
Wow.
just another option if you have like a bigger budget for a really fast 50 mil lens.
I do have sort of the dim studio lighting happening right now. So in this case, I have the camera on auto ISO. So when I stop it down, it just kind of works its magic. So maybe another time we'll try some with sort of more of a traditional light. But for just kind of looking at this lens here, I've stopped it down to 5.6. And I've noticed that it's a lot sharper. It seems, the cameras have all come into focus in the background, but they still have a little bit of blur to them. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on this?
Yeah, there's a lot more depth of field. Overall sharpness is always um, it's a little hard to judge on a stream, obviously, because with YouTube compression and stuff, really knowing what's happening in terms of sharpness is a little tough. But to my eye, I would say that they both look about equally as sharp. And so again, I can't really tell the difference from here.
Let's just quickly turn on this light and see how this looks. See if we can handle the change. How's my lighting on my face, Cal? Do you feel like this is appropriate for right now, or should I blast it on one side or dim it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Looks good. Yeah.
So that's good. So here we are with the same. I really like both lenses. If I were to give an edge to one, just based on these two sort of lighting tests, I do like the planar. It has, I think you pointed out some really good points. The skin tones are a little bit more natural. The sharpness is just a little bit better. And for the background colors, I feel that the blue background was carrying through a little bit better with the planar over the Yashica. And when you look at a scorecard, it's very close in each of the categories. But when you kind of tally it up on each line item, and I feel that the lead of planar becomes more and more apparent as you consider each factor. But that being said, they're both great lenses, and I think you could do some great work with the Yashica ML. Have a lens with a ton of character, plenty of sharpness, and I think that the planar stood up to a strong attack from the Yashica ML, but I do think the planar came out on top. So, do you have any closing thoughts, Cal?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess, similar to what you said, the thing that's always great about good glass is that it holds its value. And so you don't have to worry about purchasing a nice piece of Zeiss glass and having it lose value over the years. That's something you can hold on to for 5 or 10 years and resell and get all that money right back. So in that sense, I think buying a name like Zeiss can actually be beneficial up front. It might cost you a couple extra bucks, but long term, it's probably a better buy, and it's got the name too. So if you're on set working um, with crew and stuff, everyone knows the Zeiss name and contacts. So that's something that is a little easier to pull out of a case on set than something that says Yashica. Even if they do the same exact thing, there is something to be said for a name.
So
So
maybe that kind of lends itself to the Yashicas would be great for a kit for an indie filmmaker, somebody who's going out there and sort of, being the bushes and making some cool stuff. But with the contacts, Zeiss, you might be able to do a little bit more commercial level work.
yeah, I would agree with that. But
Well, wait,
uh,
Cal.
when
Before we go, I can't let this kind of be the last way that you see me. So I got to do my beauty lighting again. So just 1 second. I'll close that. I'm gonna open these up. Okay. I don't want you to remember seeing me like that in focus, Cal. This is much better for me. Here we go. How's that?
oh, there, yeah,
Just
it's
like
fun.
that. We're back at
It's
it.
softer, a little softer.
So this works better for me. Cal, I really appreciate you coming on the stream tonight. And I hope that you will come back and check out a few more lenses I have to show you. I've got the 50, I've got a few more 50 millimeters I want to look at and see sort of which one reigns supreme. But the next two I think I want to look at are the Canon FD 50 millimeter versus the Nikon Nikkor 50 millimeter. And we're just going to go with two very basic models, the f1.8 for the Canon and the f2 for the Nikkor. And basically what I want to do is start out with some of those lenses and work our way around and see where we go. So hopefully we'll get you back on here. I know you've got a busy schedule, but I do appreciate you coming on tonight. So thanks a lot, Cal.
Hey, thanks for having me, and yeah, I look forward to the next battle of the 50s.
This sounds good. All right. Have a great night, Cal. Take care.
All right,
All right.
see you, Ben.
Bye.